class. Thanks for watching. Now let's get started right off the bat.
It's start time.
I've always faulted school for not teaching people investment and entrepreneurship. Do you know why? Because that's the one key we all have access to that we can use to pursue wealth. We aren't all going to be offered these six-figure salaries in life. That's just a fact. Trust me. I've been wishing on a star for years. That star clearly has not been in communication with my boss. Or he's just not listening. Probably because he sucks. But investment is one of the fastest ways to wealth because it's a way to make money beyond your salary. Now, it's not a magic bullet, okay? Anyone who says that it's a magic bullet is lying right to your face. Look at them in the face. Look at them right in the face because that is the face of a liar, okay? That's what one looks like. But it's still quite effective, and it's the best option many of us have. Now, let me explain why it's a one-fits-all approach to improving your finance. You see, if you want to make money from a salary, right, getting a good-paying job, you have to work your way up to that. Most graduates don't get paid for quite a while, if at all. I mean, look at entry-level positions. They essentially pay you in shiny objects and shells. It's absurd. I mean, of course, there are careers that pay a lot more from the start, like doctors and lawyers, but think about the amount of time positions like that require you to study. Doctors have to do residency. Lawyers have to do pro bono work. It takes a long time to get paid all the same. And entrepreneurship, all right, starting your own business, which we'll talk about a bit later, that's also a struggle. And it's very risky. And a lot of people who do succeed don't necessarily make bank, okay? They don't become super rich. I think a lot of us kind of assume that every store owner in the world, for example, is making hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, but that's not the case. For example, the guy who owns the local bodega, he's probably earning a normal salary like you or I. I mean, yeah, he works for himself, but he's likely not rolling in the dough, unless he's a baker, then he might be rolling in dough. But if he is, he might be a bit of a bread pervert. Anyway, most of us aren't on the track to being millionaires, okay? And most of us never will be. Although there are more millionaires than ever in the United States, nearly 11 million as of 2017, according to Market Insights report, which is great. Still, 80% of Americans are in debt, according to the Pew Charitable Trusts, because I cite my sources. Thank you, English teachers, for your incessant screaming about bibliography pages. You're my hero. You're just like a chalky Superman. And of that 80%, about 44 million owe student debt. That's according to the U.S. student loan statistics of 2017. So doing what we are told to do, study, graduate college, that's bringing us a bigger guarantee of debt than it is opportunity at this point in time. Plus, the average salary for middle-class workers is decreasing. Furthermore, an increasing number of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. 1 in 3 people say they couldn't come up with $2,000 if faced with an emergency, according to the Federal Bank Reserve. So what's up with that? I mean, someone's getting rich off of all of us going to school, but it's not necessarily us, okay? Your typical Jack and Jill student. After all, we're the ones climbing up the hill just trying to get a drop of water, and too often, we're tumbling down empty-handed. Meanwhile, whoever owns the well hasn't been thirsty in years. That's a pretty weird analogy to make. The point is, if we want financial freedom and independent wealth, we can't just work for salaries and take on debt. We must use our money to make money. So WTF? Is this our unspoken challenge now? Can we survive without debt? Okay, is that the game? Because if it is the game, a lot of us don't want to play. I mean, what happens if we have ambitious financial goals, but we're not in a field that is pining to pay us hundreds of thousands of dollars in salary, which is most fields? Okay, are we stuck worrying about financial problems forever? After all, we live in a country that loves showing luxury, it celebrates luxury, but it seems to keep luxury very much exclusive. So what do your average Bill and Ted low to middle class worker do to change their financial standing? I mean, is there some excellent adventure to wealth that we can all set out on? Or are we stuck on some bogus journey through a life of debt? The fact is, people who have the ambition to choose a better financial standing can do just that, I promise. Regardless of what school told you about the necessity of education and all that stuff, investment and entrepreneurship are available to everyone. regardless of your economic standing or your educational background. Now let me clarify. This does not mean that you shouldn't graduate school or get a decent job. Because despite the utter pointlessness of learning how to measure a slope in math class, no offense to the slope fan club, school actually can help us. It's just not completely necessary. And let me clarify that. You see, graduating school does a couple of things. First off, it is likely, although not guaranteed, to increase your salary if you have a degree. Okay? College graduates are likely to make more money because they are offered higher salaries. This is good because investment means you need to have money to make money. Even entrepreneurship usually requires some starting up costs, so the higher your salary, the faster you can save to pursue your exit strategy out of the rat race. Also, it builds your ethos, which may come in handy if you decide to pursue entrepreneurship. I mean, if you are marketing a company, you often start off by marketing yourself. And whether you want to open a store or fix phones or tutor kids or shave people's back hair, whatever it is, it helps if you have some training in what you're doing so people can take you more seriously. I mean, it's just common sense. And of course, a third benefit is that it provides knowledge, which is also helpful, but hypothetically, you can learn what you need to learn in order to succeed without getting the full degree. If I want to learn coding, for example, I could technically learn that without going to a school or getting a degree, right? The degree helps me market myself better, but the knowledge that I have about coding, whether I get it from classes or from books, with or without a degree, that is what's going to make me a proficient coder or not. Anyone who has ever received any degree from any grade knows firsthand that a good amount of what we learn at school usually offers very little practicality to our lives. I mean, algebra is great and all, but most of us, we're not using it on a day-to-day basis. Most of us aren't using it beyond just pulling our hair out, trying to understand how numbers and letters are intermingling like some bizarre interspecies horror movie. I mean, that's the drawback of many degrees. They demand you spend money and time on useless classes. So education is worthwhile. You got to learn how to do something. Degrees are also worthwhile, but there's a bit of a catch-22 there. And I mention all this because we need to start looking at things realistically and practically, and calling things as we see them. If you want wealth, see education for what it is and what it offers in black and white. Okay? So to summarize, school gives us knowledge, and degrees offer us a useful negotiating tool to get a job or to barter for salary, to build our ethos. But beyond following the tried and true pursuit of degrees in hopes of boosting our salaries, what else can we do to take control of our finances? Well, here is where investment comes into play. Here is where we leverage the money that we make to make more money. Money makes money. Learn how it works and make it happen. So without further ado, I pronounce you husband and wife. Oh, wait, sorry, wrong line. So without further ado, let's look at some investment opportunities available to everyone.